Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I am super excited to come to you today with another fresh new episode for you. Welcome into the jungle that you call the Growing Green podcast here. If you are a returning listener, thanks for coming back. If you're new, welcome to the show. We have another great guest interview for you today. We have Trey from the ground up out of Pennsylvania joining us here on the show today. So we're going to hop in and hear some great conversation with Trey here shortly. I just want to say thank you to everyone who does support the show and shares the show, because that's how we grow the community, is just by sharing and leaving reviews and things like that. So I want to just start off the show by saying thank you to each and every one of you who do that. But let's bring him in, man. Trey, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, man. Good. Excited to make this happen. It has been 6 weeks in the making. We met on the cruise for Together in the Trades and talked. I was like, dude, we're doing a podcast when we get back. We get back, it's just like thrown out of the frying pan in the fire. It was just craziness. Got back to transmission being out, to 2 jobs getting behind, and just another transmission going down. It's been just absolute craziness. But finally had a good, smooth week last week, and finally getting our feet back under us here, getting into a good start to the week this week. And you've been busy as well. I've been seeing some projects y'all been putting in the ground, which has been awesome. And so I just want to take a few minutes here before we get started and really dive into the show to give some people your background, a little bit about yourself, the company. And I know that sounds stereotypical, like that's how every podcast starts, but I think it is important that we create just the foundation and share the foundation of where you are, where you came from, so we can talk about everything that you've got going on with your company today. So, Trey, take it away, man. Tell us a little bit about your history, how you got started in the business, and then we'll kind of just fast forward into today's activities and business principles and things that you're learning on a day-to-day basis.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you having me on. So my dad was always in landscaping his whole life, so that's all I knew growing up. Always kind of did things here and there as a side business, and decided back in 2019 to take it full time, and we kind of have been going ever since. So From the Ground Up is mainly a construction hardscape company, so design build. We don't do any maintenance. We really never have. We do have a facet of the business that we renamed this year just to keep our marketing, kind of aligned. That does more construction type work. So the decks, the covered porches, some of that's kind of moved into some interior work as well for customers that we know. But the main thing we, pride ourselves in is the outdoor living spaces.
That's awesome, dude. How did you go straight into the design build side? That's usually not the case. It's usually you start mowing yards and then you transition and you learn. That's kind of what we're doing into the landscape side. But you're saying You just went straight in. So what was your background before that? How did you go straight into construction?
Yeah, so I worked for a very large commercial maintenance company while I was in high school. And then while I got out of high school, I worked there until I just kind of got fed up with it and really hated the industry there for a little bit. So then I went and worked for a construction company building, $50 and $100 million apartment complexes and, large scale work. And that's kind of where I started falling back in love with the landscaping and hardscaping portion of it. So leaving the maintenance world, getting into construction, getting into bigger projects and learning how all that works, started doing landscaping on the side again during the weekends to make some extra money. And then it just kind of snowballed. So, I think seeing the maintenance part of it large scale when I was just out of high school and still young, it it burnt me out of that. So I did whatever I could to learn how to build the cool stuff, is what we like to say.
Yeah. Okay. So you learned. So you learned in that other company. How long did you say? You might have said it. I missed it. How long did you say you worked for that company?
I was there about 5 years.
Okay. So you had a good. That's a good time to learn. I mean, you can learn a lot in 5 years.
Oh yeah, yeah. I went from, in high school, watering flowers, pulling weeds, to then string trimmer guy, to running a maintenance crew, to then I was an account manager for one of the larger branches in the company in Northern Virginia.
So that account manager role, what did that look like? If you don't mind me asking.
Everything from trying to sell jobs to pulling weeds. So generally, you were, you know, overseeing some of the jobs, helping sell jobs, design jobs, getting new maintenance work for the next year. Our branch was a little different. Our branch manager really never came into the office. So me and two production managers oversaw about 65 people. So it was a lot to handle. And hence the reason why I got burnt out pretty quick.
Yeah, 100%. That's like I can't. Yeah, I don't even want to get it. 65 people.
Yeah.
Between
We
two
did
people,
about between 5 and 6 million a year in revenue.
just in your brand. In
Just
your
in that one branch, yeah.
wow. Okay.
It was part of it was government work. So like we did the National Mall, we did mowing of some highways, the Federal
Yeah.
Reserve. Like there was some cool work. Um, but still, Northern Virginia is not a fun market to be in, man. It's traffic every day. There's so many
Yeah.
people. So I was happy to move back to Pennsylvania.
So I want to see honestly how that translates over into today's ownership role that you're in now. Do you think that equipped you with some things you wouldn't have been able to, or you wouldn't have understood from the beginning? I guess you could say, because I want to share where this is coming from, and then maybe you take this and run with it here, because I think a lot of guys grow their companies, myself included. We're in a growth phase right now, and we're selling work, we're producing work, but you hit a point to where you have to start having some other things in place, like you have to some type of an office admin, some type of other roles that are not straight labor producing roles that are in place, and you have to have other parts of the company. And that is something that I'm trying to like figure out on a daily basis of when do we make that switch? How do we make that switch? What's the best way to do that? So you've kind of seen that from from someone else in someone else's company, right? So you didn't have everything on the line. How did you learn in those situations and bring that into your own company, if you don't mind sharing, and give some insight to guys that are in my position, right? That are trying to grow the company from 200,000 to 1 million, and you hit some pivotal points along the way of having other people come in and help you along the way to hit that point, and not just flatlining at 500 because you can only sell and produce so much that you're in control of.
Yeah. I mean, to be completely honest with you, I think I was probably a little too young and a little too naive to take a whole lot from my stint at that company. I mean, I learned pretty quickly how not to treat people and how not to, make your employees feel. I think that was the biggest thing I took from working there. The main, to the main things I've picked up on growth and how to get people into places and what people you need into places has really just been asking other companies around me,
Mm.
how they did it and what they did. And, like I said, if maybe I was 30, 35 when I was at that company, I probably could have picked up some
Yeah,
more stuff. But right out of high school and out of college,
that's not
man,
the stuff you were looking at.
no, I was just trying to survive. And my wife and I were young. I mean, we've been together since middle school. We had our first kid when I was a freshman in college, and she was a senior in high school.
Mm.
So, um, adding that into the mix and continuing to grow our family, because we got 4 kids now, that was a lot to try to take in what that company was teaching me, plus how our life was expanding.
Yeah.
So, the biggest thing is just find a company near you that you would like to be, and then start pestering them.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's good. I've heard of getting around people in your area. I recommend that, building connections in your area. I think that is also good. But yeah, getting with somebody who's bigger than you, I think is also good advice as well. Give me a little bit of rundown on what your company looks like today, and we can kind of dive into some of that, the building process and all that to get to where you are. But where are you at sitting today as far as, feel free to share revenue if you want to, you don't have to, and then just team members, how many people you have on staff and things like that.
Yeah, so right now we have 9 field workers, full-time sales guy. My wife helps in the office, and then myself. We run 3 crews. In the spring, we ran 4 crews just because of trying to get everything done that we could. And we do, or we're trying to do approximately 2.3, 2.4 in total revenue.
Yeah.
Um, so last year we did 1.4, so it's a pretty big jump.
Wow. Okay.
But we kind of plateaued at 1.4 for 2 years in a row, purposely.
Yeah.
But we got to the point then I wanted to take that next jump. So it's been a lot of learning, a lot of doing things differently next year that we'll do. But
Yeah.
we're getting there.
So you say your wife helps in the office. Is it just her? When you say helps in the office, is she like a full time putting 40 hours in? Whose role
Yeah,
does
it's
that?
not quite 40 hours. I mean, she answers the phone, she schedules all the appointments, she does receipts, she does a lot of the, like, we have health insurance, retirement plans,
Okay.
all of the big company type benefits. So she deals with all of that. Um,
Do you do your own job costing?
we do, yeah. We use Synced Up. So we have everything from our consultations
Yeah.
to job costing and invoicing and everything through there.
Okay. And so do you do that yourself? Like, you keep up on those reports as far as like
Yeah, yeah,
materials and all that stuff, what's going to that
yeah,
job and all that?
yeah. So I've sold everything for the business up until June 1st of this year.
Yeah.
And then we hired a sales guy to come help kind of take that load. And I stepped back and kind of named myself like a production manager, right?
Yeah.
So I like doing the work. I still like being out there with the guys. It's not a fun day for me to drive around and see people and do that kind of stuff. I'd rather sit in a machine and let's get some work in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's been nice. But yeah, all the job costing I keep track of, schedules for work, ordering materials, any long lead materials, I order that. Any engineering that we got to do or designing, I still handle a lot of that. But as far as like just doing sales, that's what we hired Ken for.
Awesome. Awesome. That's super cool, man. So what would you say, this is kind of a different conversation that I think I was even planning on going with, but I want to hear this because you have 9 guys in the field. That's a spot where a lot of guys want to get to, right? They want to get to that 9 to 10 employee range. You got a person in the office with your wife and a salesperson. Like, that's a huge goal that you've reached, right? And I know you're not satisfied. You want to keep growing. But you're at a really good point in the company. If you don't mind sharing, what does a day-to-day, like, what does your day look like on a normal day of the week? What does that look like as from the ownership point of view that you're in now? And maybe like things that you are wanting to change, that you don't like that you're doing right now, and things that you want to be doing right now as well.
Yeah. So a big thing I'll say is I'm working on getting my schedule a little bit more structured.
Yeah, same.
It has not been structured really at all since I've started the business.
Yeah,
So really a day to day is, let's just start with a Monday morning. We
yeah.
have a meeting at 6:30.
Okay.
So we go through our plan for the week, our plan for the following week. We have a full-time mechanic. So we go through anything that needs fixed. He also does all of our deliveries for us. So moving equipment around, moving job trailers around, picking up plants, picking up pavers. We do all that in-house.
He's your runner.
Yeah. Yep. So then we figure out his schedule for the week, and then 7 o'clock, everyone's here. Um, and from there, we disperse to the jobs. If there's something complicated on a project, I try to be there to do it with the guys. But if it's just a normal day, then I'll try to hit as two, three, as many of the jobs as I can, and then depending where they are, that could be an entire day.
Yeah.
So we're try to stay within an hour of our shop in a big radius. So if you're on one side of that hour to the other side of that hour between jobs,
Yeah.
that eats up most of your day. Um, but let's just say everything's close, then I would come back here to our office and do some job costing. Um, you know, there's a million other like long-term
Yeah.
things, and like DOT folders for the trucks
So
and
much. God, there's so much. That's why
quality reviews and all that stuff.
I was like, what does it look like day to day, and what office staff do you have? Because I'm seeing, like, I'm to the point now. So we're much smaller scale. We have five full time guys in the field, and then myself as just a hybrid. I'm in and out as needed, but I'm doing all the sales. And we're to the point where, so we have 115, 120 maintenance accounts. And so that adds a lot of office work that you don't have with design build, right? That's where I'm like, how are you doing 2-4 with just one, like your wife working not totally full time and you doing all the other, like that doesn't make sense. Cause I feel like I'm drowning right now, but it's what it is it's the maintenance versus the design build. And that's a huge benefit to doing design build, right? Like, is the client to owner, client to just the communication there that you have, is that a huge reason you didn't even want to get into the maintenance? Like, you just want to keep it simple?
Yeah. And just, in our area, and I'm sure it's this way in a lot of areas, but in our area, there wasn't many really good hardscape or landscape companies. So there's like
Really?
one or two I can name off the top of our head,
Yeah.
but the other ones, but to me, are just fly by night and they don't really do a good job.
Yeah.
Um, so our first thing, as soon as we stepped into the market, is we want to be the top company for you to come to. So even when we just started, we marketed ourselves as the number one company for hardscaping.
Yeah.
It was very cocky, egotistical, but it it was what I wanted.
Yeah.
We wanted to be the top dog as far as if you want it done correctly, you're going to come to us. And we're not going to, do it, halfway. And we're not going to, do stuff that we shouldn't do. And if mistakes are made, we're going to redo the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
we just stand by it.
Yeah.
And like there's a million different mowing companies in our area. Like every week a new one's coming up.
Yeah.
So I felt like we couldn't compete.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel that. You could compete and you could probably win, but it's just a lot longer process. And a lot more just like boots on the ground work.
And where we were personally in our life, when I stepped away from the construction company to start this, we had a house. My wife and I each had vehicle payments, like 4 kids. I mean, if I would have done it right out of high school, we probably could have made it work because I could have lived on a smaller, salary per se.
Yeah.
But when you already have your life kind of set up, taking that jump has to be a little bit more calculated, and you got to make, the bigger dollars right off the bat.
Back to your day to day. I want to make sure I didn't interrupt you there and take anything. Is there anything else you want to add in there? And then what is something, maybe you said you're trying to get your schedule tightened up some more. What would you change about that day to day process?
I would just set like almost block schedule type.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more flexible that, from this time to this time, I want to get some office work done. And this time to this time, we're going to be looking at jobs and then making sure long lead, just all that kind of stuff is dealt with. Because the way I do it now, I spend a lot of time thinking, driving in the truck. So I'll be like, oh man, I forgot to do that. Let me make a call quick. And I'd like to limit that as much as I can, because every time that happens, you feel like, oh, there's something else I'm forgetting. And then it bothers you for
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then when you think about it, and then you're like, oh, I'll do that when I get to the office. And then you forget to do it when you get to the office.
oh yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah. You'll think
Yep.
of something before this interview's over, and you're like, oh, I got to do that. And then you'll forget
Yep.
the rest of the day. So,
Yep.
yeah, no, I totally feel that. I think that is where scheduling does come in to play there, and it helps a lot. It makes a big difference getting a little bit of block scheduling there, time blocking. I have not been able to do that the way that I would like to have this year. I started doing it earlier in the summer, kind of just got away from it when I was having to be pulled into the field more than I would have liked, but I do want to get back to that for sure, as much as I can heading into the fall, and then hopefully set us up that way into the spring next year. That's really what I'm already looking forward to. Like I want to have a big fall push here, but I'm already looking forward to spring of 25. Like, hey, how can we hit the ground running with a good team already in place? Because this year's been adding team members, getting us built out to where we can actually produce, and next year it's going to be hopefully take it and run with it, show some real profit from it. So let me ask you this about hiring. You go into a trade like this, design build, that's not just stick a guy on a weed eater and train him, right? It's totally, totally different. So you had experience coming from construction. What did you do to hire 9 guys who know what they're doing with design build?
It's been tough.
Yeah.
I would say employees is one of the hardest things about owning a business. There's plenty of days I just want to go back to it being myself. But you have to just keep working at it, always be looking. I mean, we are always advertising and always looking for guys. So if a good guy pops up, we're going to get him. Even if you don't necessarily need them right that second.
Yeah.
But, we started with, a core 1 or 2 guys and then their buddies that they worked with. And then, we've kind of weeded people out as we've gone. The biggest thing is just treat them right and then, help them. Mistakes are going to happen. But if you can have your guys understand that you're going to take care of them and you're going to help them, it goes a long way. Like they're like, if they make a little mistake, they're not going to get screamed at.
Mm-hmm.
That's just treating people is huge. We have 2 good foremans. Three solid foremen. One's a construction and 2 are the hardscaping. That take the time to train the guys, and every couple months we'll do a day where we go and build something at the shop or build something as a donation, and use that time to help further train the guys as well. So like this was probably 3 weeks ago.
I saw that job. That was cool.
Yeah, it was like a memorial garden for a township employee that passed away about a year ago. So, that was time that we spent 2 days with everyone just to go through everything from excavating to, poly sanding. And it's just nice sometimes to hear it from someone else too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. That's cool, man. Well, as you've grown, what have been some of the challenges along the way that you would say, like, maybe if you would have done something differently, you wouldn't have run into that? What's some advice you would give to someone who's trying to grow the company, break over that $1 million threshold, and just really see breakthrough in their business?
I mean, one of the big things
question.
Always gonna, what?
It's a very open-ended question, so take it however you want.
One of the big things is you always got to pay attention to your numbers, and I know everyone hears that numbers, but if you're just growing for the sake of growing, it's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
And we wanted to grow as fast and as calculated as we could to get to the point where, the business could sustain, kind of the life that my wife and I were looking to build for our family.
Yeah.
That I had time that I could coach their soccer team, or we could go on these racing events because my kids race little sprint cars. So, if I was a single man operation, leaving for a week to go racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Um, so, it was building the business to get to there. But to do that, you got to pay attention to the money. You got to pay attention to the quality. Those are huge things because you're going to have both of those are going to dwindle as you grow and as you train people, but you just have to be able to catch it and fix it to then keep moving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, cash flow is always an issue, especially once you get into commercial work and stuff like that. I mean, you're not getting paid for 90 days after you're finished. So you have to be able to take that hit. And it's just sometimes you got to step back and look at it and be like, all right, if we step back for the next 6 months, we'll be able to leap past we were like right now. So, we were at, I think, 9 or 10 guys and did, I think it was 1-2 or 1-4. And then jumped back and went to only 2 crews with 2 guys on each crew and did the same amount of work the following year. So that just shows you how inefficient and how wasteful we were the year before.
Yeah.
And then that set the platform for us to be able to take the next jump to get to 2.5 or, what we're trying to get to. So, sometimes it takes time and it takes some thought.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that the numbers play a huge part, and that's you sit here and you say you synced up. And how long have you been with them? Have you been with them from the beginning?
No, when we first started the business, I went with LMN, and then they kind of had some things that weren't like job costing and stuff early on wasn't there. We switched to synced up.
Yep.
So it's been about 3 years we've been with them.
Okay. Yeah. So you know the importance of knowing your numbers. You have to, especially if you're a design build company. And this is the point that I try to get across. So when I have conversations with, like we've had conversations with Weston before, and it's like too many times the maintenance guys that are doing $50, $60 mows are not paying attention to their numbers the way that they should because they don't have to. They have the cash flow better than you do as a design build company. Like you are leveraging in cases hundreds of thousands of dollars on jobs, like in material and labor and all the stuff that goes into it, payments on equipment. So if you don't know your numbers, you will go, like your business will go under if you don't have some type of system in place. I think that maintenance guys get away with it a little bit longer. So their business will go down one day, but I think they can stretch it a little bit further because it's lower revenue things, right? It's lower cost items as well. Mm-hmm. It's a $60 set of blades instead of a $3,000 set of tracks for a machine. And so you have to just kind of look at those things and hear what Trey's saying, like know your numbers. It goes across the board though. It goes all the way down to you if you're running just solely a maintenance company by yourself, all the way up to someone who is doing $2.5 million with 10 guys. Because what did you do? What adjustments did you make in that year where you dropped into 4 people? You cut 5 guys out, which is, I don't know what's the math on 5. We'll say they make $50,000. You cut $300,000 between $250,000 and $300,000 out in labor, but you still made the same amount of money.
Yep. So the biggest thing was making sure. Well, we had too many people on the jobs that weren't necessarily doing anything, standing around.
I got you.
And then also making sure we had the right equipment on the jobs. Making sure we had making sure the materials were there on time. Stuff like that seems little, but if you have 3 and 4 guys standing around waiting for a triaxle load of stone that wasn't there the day before,
adds up
that
fast.
adds up quick.
Yeah.
We took fuel tanks and we put them at the shop. So we have off-road, on-road, and gas all at the shop now. We have stone bins at the shop that if you need 2 yards of stone, instead of running to the supply store, we'll just load it up in the truck quick. Just stuff like that. We tried to be as efficient as possible. It was also a lot easier for me to handle. I mean, trying to watch 9 guys in 3 different locations by myself was getting impossible. But switching back to 2 crews, we were able to manage that a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, I will say we had built the company with the overhead and the amount of equipment for 4 crews. So even though we did cut costs, we
That was
still broke
tough.
even for the year
Yeah.
because we had all this equipment sitting around.
Yeah.
But it was a calculated risk, I'm going to say, because I
Decision.
knew we wanted to
Yeah.
get back up there. So instead of liquidating all this stuff, we set it up that we'll have it for the following year,
Yeah.
which helped us this year. Everything, not everything was new, but it was newer. So we kept paying on that and took the hit for the year. And then this year it's, ready to go. And it's 1 year less of payments we have for
Yeah.
certain.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could have liquidated it and then started back over.
Yeah.
We kind of saw the cost of things keep going up. So you're not going to get it any cheaper. And the stuff we did have financed, the interest rates were a lot lower than what you get now.
Yeah.
So
On your multiple crew situation, so this is something I'm working through. I would even love your feedback as well. Where have you found the sweet spot for number of guys? It sounds like 3 because that's what you're running now. 3-man crews. I was just talking. We did a podcast last week with Lawson. He owns Greystone Hardscapes. He said he got up to 5 guys at one point. He was like, that was the biggest mistake he had ever made.
too much.
Yeah, he said it was way too many. He's back at 3 now because 2 is just it's a lot on 2 guys. So what is your take on that? When to split crews, and then how many you like to see on a crew?
So we have, as far as when to split crews, we have our one main foreman, Josh, that is top notch, and he's a really good trainer.
Yeah.
So I always try to have, if I think there's somebody that has the capabilities to be a foreman, I put them with him and he can kind of teach them.
Yeah.
And then we can send them off on their own. So that's when we would split. We like having 3 people on a crew. Excavation days, 3 people's too much. So
Yeah.
we are
Too much seat time, not enough seats.
or one person standing around.
Yeah.
So you really only need one person in the machine and one person shooting grade.
Yeah.
But if we can maybe have a floater that we can move between the other crews if we need to,
Yeah.
that's a thought that we're still working on. We've also switched to 4 11-hour days to try to keep Fridays open. Still pretty new to that right now, so I'm not exactly sure how well it's working or not working yet.
So everybody just gets 4 hours of overtime?
In the perfect world, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like most of the spring and summer, we've been rocking 50, 55 hours a week. So we kind of pulled that back a little bit.
Yeah. Man, that adds up real quick.
It does. So
real
hopefully as
fast.
we move into the fall, we can try to keep it between 40 and 45 hours, still have Friday if we need it,
Yeah.
and still hit production goals.
Yeah.
But if we have to adjust, then we'll make that adjustment.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. That's super good info. The splitting of the crews makes sense of find you one guy that can train and then let him. So do you have you share as much as you want or as little as you want here. Do you have incentives in place for that one guy who's really doing like he is growing your company, right? Like you're selling, but he is training guys. He's helping you get to those new crews and things. So do you have any structure in place or is it just kind of like just an understood thing that you take care of him here and there? Anything that you could share that you do?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he understands I'll take care of him any way I can, but we do have, like all of our guys get a boot allowance, a clothing allowance, paid vacation, health insurance that we cover a portion of. There's a retirement plan for everybody. I have life insurance for everybody in case something happens to them to help cover any fees. And then we also have a bonus structure based on production goals. So if we can beat hours on a job, we take those hours and they get a portion of, what that cost would be.
Yeah.
So now with the one foreman that does a lot of training, obviously his hours aren't going to be as great because he's spending that time training someone, right? So him and I have had that conversation about 2 months ago on what we can do different because he's having a hard time hitting hours while training somebody.
Yeah.
And still making sure we put out A+ work.
But that training is so much more important than hitting those hours. Like
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's huge because you might take it on the hours right now, but in a month from now, that crew, that person can be out, doing something else, bringing revenue in from there. So it's everything in business is a give and take every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to be flexible enough to know when to take and when to give. That's the biggest thing.
Do you have a biggest mistake you would be open sharing? Anything that you've done in 5 years?
I've made a lot of mistakes. I mean, things such as buying the wrong piece of equipment.
What do you mean by that?
We have a Bobcat piece of equipment right now that I hate with a passion. I liked the salesman when I bought it, and that's why I bought it, and because I was in a rush.
Oh, that sucks. Pause. You can say this. You'll take it out of my lips. Guys, never try to be to the point where you never have to buy a truck or equipment in a rush decision.
Yeah.
Because I'm in that spot and have been in that spot, and I'm purposely not rushing, but it's costing me time and money in other areas because I want to make the right decision. But when you get yourself put in that spot, this is what happens. This is a first-hand scenario. This is what happens. Continue. Didn't mean to interrupt there.
Yeah, so we're typically a Caterpillar company. Yeah. Everything's Caterpillar. So I strayed and went and got a Bobcat, and we've had nothing with issues with it since.
Yeah.
Like the first year we had it, we put like 100 hours on it because it was in the shop.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, and they won't do anything for you. So, that hurt. You buy $100,000 machine the first year, you barely use it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, even mistakes like, there's times that you let your foot off the gas. That's a pretty common.
I've done
mistake.
that.
Yep. So you have to know to get back on it. Another one I see, we kind of got into it a little bit, but I was able to pull myself out, and I see a lot of people getting into it is stuff on Instagram and Facebook and social media is not as clean and pretty as you think it is.
Never is.
Don't get caught in that I need to do this because they're doing it. Everybody's company, everybody's situation, everybody's market, everything is different. Just do what you feel you need to do. You don't need to keep up with those people. And I've been there. We've done it. And now it's to the point where, I'm still on social media looking at it and seeing what people are doing, but I try to do less of it just because you get caught into that. Well, they've got this. Why haven't I done that yet? And it's a trap.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful.
That's awesome. What is your family life like right now? You said you have 4 kids. How old are the kids?
Yep. 12, or one's going to be 13, 9, 8, and my little girl is 5.
Awesome.
So 3 boys and then a girl.
Wow. Ended with a girl?
Yeah.
Look at there. That's the icing on the cake.
Yeah. And my wife and I have been together since 2008. So we met in middle school.
Yeah.
So she's been there through the ups and downs of it all.
So middle school, what is that? How old are you then? If you don't put that out there on the ether?
13. Yeah, I think.
Well, no, how old are you now?
Oh, I am 32. I'll be 32 in December.
Okay. I guess you are 13 in middle school. Yeah, that's right. Somewhere in there.
Yeah, something like that, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
2008 we started dating.
I got you.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's so cool. Well, I appreciate you being open and sharing the good and the bad, right? That's what we always want to talk about on the show is you want to talk about people's successes and wins, but you also want to share the struggles along the way. And that's, you make this decision to be an entrepreneur. You made the decision to start your own company, but you also made it knowing that it wasn't going to be easy. And if you made it not knowing that, then you should listen to our show. And if you have listened to our show, then I promise you did make that decision, because we are very open and honest about that it is hard, but it is well worth it in the end. I mean, I haven't asked this question in a long time on the show, but I think I know the answer, right? You kind of hit it on earlier, but what is your why?
My why has always been something to give my kids.
Yeah.
So even when it was a side business and I didn't want to leave the construction company I was at, I wanted to keep doing it as a side business, so when they were old enough, they could take it.
Yeah.
And then it just snowballed into something bigger that I had to jump and, go for it. But yeah, it's the why is to give, my 4 kids and my wife the best life that I can give them, and then be able to give my kids the opportunity that if they want to do this, it's here and you can take it to the next step, or you can sell it, do whatever you want to do. But I want you to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
That's, as much as I love the work and love the guys and love everything about the business, it's, my family comes first beyond anything. So, and that's a big struggle, because owning a business is 99% of your time. And then with the family, you just have to balance it. And, it's, we don't work weekends. That was a deal my wife and I made from the get-go. There's never going to be any weekend work.
Yeah.
Monday to Friday is, sun up to sundown, and then the weekends are for getting back with your family and regrouping.
I love it, dude. That's amazing. I appreciate the honesty and the transparency. That's really good advice to take away from today's show. I think that many, many nuggets in here. There's many nuggets that you can take away and share with your company, with your family. If you're listening to the show today, take some of this and take it to your guys, take it to your employees, translate it over. You heard Trey talk about all the benefits that he has in his company for his guys to be able to bring in high-quality players, right? And that's something that, as you grow, you have to make that investment. You have to bring on high-quality performers, people that are going to help you grow your company, and there has to be incentive in place for that. And so as you do that, get around people, like you're saying, other people in your area that are growing in your area, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. Every market, every climate, everything is different. And so by getting with someone in your area who's literally on your streets, on your hills, in your weather, that it's bigger than you, and that's where you want to go, then getting around them does, I think, add a lot of value to your company and try to make friends with them. So
yeah, that's one of the main things, is find someone that can be a mentor to you.
Yeah. I love it, man. Well, where can everybody follow you? I know you're on Instagram. Where can everybody follow you? Is that the best place? And if so, share it.
Instagram, From the Ground Up, 17327, I think is what the tag is. We also, our construction part of the business is under Chilcote and Sons. Those are the 2 easiest ways to see everything that we're up to and doing.
Awesome, man. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Trey for coming on to spend some time with us. If you enjoyed it, leave us a big 5-star rating and review. Shoot Trey a message. Say thank you for your time, because I know you brought a lot of value, especially to guys looking to grow design build companies and things like that. We're trying to transition not totally to design build, but add into our landscape side, maybe potentially merge over into some hardscapes, some simple patios and things. So always trying to grow our knowledge in that area, and I appreciate having connections like you in the industry that we can turn to and just put out a wealth of knowledge on shows like this. So thank you for your time today, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in and following along with us here on the show. We'll be back with you here on Friday. If you are looking forward to another show, come back and hang out with us and share it as well, because that's, again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, how we grow the show and just grow the community by adding one relationship to another at a time. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it, and that's going to wrap this one up. We look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.